Hello and welcome to the Angus Report, a news program geared toward cattle producers. I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Crystal Albers. Paige Wallace is on assignment this week. From American Angus Association headquarters in St. Joseph, Missouri, we bring you the week's top headlines, including a look at reported EPA surveillance of Midwest feedlots.
Daryl Peel discusses the latest cattle on feed report and supply concerns.
We discuss international marketing opportunities, plus tips for cutting costs and adding value.
This is the Angus Report. Our top story for the week, Environmental Protection Agency Director Lisa Jackson received a letter from several legislators last week questioning the agency's reported aerial surveillance of Midwest feedlots. Several flyovers to capture feedlot images have happened in Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, and Missouri. Congressmen from the region are seeking answers for concerned citizens, including details of the flights, justification of the action, and use of the images. The EPA says they are using the photos as just one of several ways to determine compliance with the Clean Water Act. Stay tuned to future episodes of the Angus Report as we follow the story.
A report from the Livestock Marketing Information Center shows U.S. hay stocks are exceeding expectations this year, but still remain nearly 4% below year-ago levels. Hay use was reduced this past winter thanks to mild weather conditions and high prices. In fact, LMIC records show hay disappearance was at the lowest levels since 1994. With larger than anticipated stocks, analysts predict softer hay prices during the marketing year. Visit lmic.info for more information.
The latest cattle on feed numbers show a significant drop in placements. So what does this mean for feedlot inventories in the coming months? Daryl Peel with Oklahoma State University explains.
Well over a year we've been kind of playing with the timing of feedlot cattle or feedlot placements. The drought and the use of imported cattle and all of those things have changed the timing, but at some point you'll run out of tricks and you just have to respect the fact that there's just not as many feeder cattle out there. I think this cattle on feed tells us that we can expect that for the next few months now. We're going to see smaller placements, we're going to see feedlot inventories get pulled down as we work our way through the year. June slaughter is usually the biggest slaughter month. And so, you know, there's some room for pressure here through the rest of the second quarter. And we're kind of in that transition from what we did the last few months to what we're going to be able to do in the coming months. Certainly, once we get to about July or August, these smaller placements begin to really take effect, and we'll see a marked drop in feedlot marketings and slaughter. And that's going to put even more pressure on wholesale and retail prices at that point in time, even compared to what we've been seeing for the last several months. By the end of the year and on into next year, and probably the year after that, we see even tighter supplies. So the very tightest supplies are well ahead of us. That means there's going to be a strong support for prices, and probably the record prices don't happen in 2012. They're going to happen in 2013 or later, depending on how this thing plays out over the next 2 years.
Steve Hammock of Texas A&M says producers should keep their resources in mind when it comes to efficiency.
For a long time we thought that by increasing the rate of gain of cattle, by selecting for cattle that gained fast, we would increase efficiency. But this is only true if you feed cattle for the same length of time, and we basically don't do that. We feed cattle to their logical endpoint, their body composition endpoint. We know that we can maximize production by feeding as much as an animal can take in, but this may not always be, especially on a cow herd. High levels of nutrition, if you provide them, you're going to get the most production, but that may not be cost effective. So it's a matter of determining the optimum levels of things like nutrition for a given operation that will maximize efficiency.
Hammock spoke at the BIF conference this spring in Houston, Texas. Visit bifconference.com for further coverage.
The American Angus Association welcomes a new regional manager to its ranks. Beginning this month, Will Mayfield of Pulaski, Tennessee will serve as the regional manager for the Eastern region. Mayfield will represent the Angus breed at cattle industry events and sales throughout the region, as well as advise producers on association programs, services, and marketing opportunities. Visit angus.org to contact a regional manager in your area.
The American Angus Association will host its 2012 National Angus Conference and Tour October 3rd through the 5th in central and western Kansas. The Come Home to Kansas event includes industry-leading speakers and educational seminars, as well as a 2-day tour that features the state's historic Angus operations.
We will see pretty much all aspects of the beef industry. Of course, Kansas is a big cow-calf producing state. But we also have a lot of feed yards. We have a lot of large commercial purebred Angus breeders, and and also some packing companies, and we're trying to incorporate all of that in this visit to Kansas. And then also we'll see a lot of very diverse pasture land and also farmland. When we go up into the Flint Hills area, of course, that's the tall grass prairie, a lot of native grasses. And then when we go west, it's more short grass, some high plains, but also a lot of rocky bluffs and open range and very different terrain. So the 2 days you'll see a lot of different landscape and also different types of ranching operations.
Registration is available at angus.org and is due August 20th.
When the Angus Report returns, we share tips for not only cutting costs, but also adding value.
We'll also visit with the association's Brian Brigham on breeding records and a future lifetime productivity value.
We'll return in just a moment.